The Chinese Communist Party is tightening its control over every sector in China. And at the same time, it's attempting to take control of people's minds and some say their souls. At Monday's Hudson Institute Forum, a group of experts examined the regime's war on religious freedom.
This is something we only get to see in churches in China. Images of Communist Party leader Xi Jinping in the center, surrounded by CCP flags and political slogans. That's just one of the many things Beijing is doing to faith groups in China. On top of jailing Muslims, burning Bibles, and forcing monks to wave the CCP flag.
China is really waging a war not just on any particular religion, but against religion itself.
On Monday, the Hudson Institute held a forum with people from various faith and religious groups. Together, they discussed the big picture of religious persecution in China today. The genocide of Uyghur Muslims has brought the situation to light. The persecuted groups include Muslims, Christians, Falun Gong practitioners, and Tibetan Buddhists. Following Xi's directive in 2018, houses of worship in China are required to uphold the party's rules, which include censorship, high-tech surveillance, and restricted membership. This year, Beijing ordered religious leaders to support the Communist Party's practices, leadership, and core values, even in sermons and teachings. The Communist Party, which is officially atheist, has for decades tried to erase every trace of faith in China, except for the party itself.
Who is your spiritual leader? Is it the 14th Dalai Lama?
Xi Jinping. One of the common things that I've heard from them is that who is your savior? The motherland, the Communist Party. Who is your God? Xi Jinping.
That's what Uyghur American attorney Ner Tarkel recalls from an internment camp in China's Xinjiang region. He eventually got out and claimed asylum in the U.S.
When you force a people who have been practicing a religion, believing in God for so long, to switch to a human being, that in of itself is a tremendous torture.
In Xinjiang, authorities have put in place a massive police state for the Uyghur Muslim community. They have imprisoned an estimated over 1 million residents. According to the Chinese regime, Uyghur Muslims are one of the 5 groups he sees as a threat to its rule. The rest are pro-democracy activists, Taiwanese nationalists, Tibetan dissidents, and Falun Gong practitioners. Falun Gong, also known as Falun Dafa, is a spiritual practice that attracted millions of practitioners in a matter of years. The level of popularity worried the Communist Party. It banned Falun Gong in 1999 and started a campaign persecuting practitioners. Falun Gong practitioners say millions have been incarcerated and had their organs harvested for transplants.
They incarcerate a lot of prisoners of conscience, right, including Falun Gong practitioners and Uyghurs, so they can treat them as an organ farm.
Lin is the spokesperson for the Falun Dafa Association. He was detained in China for the practice. In 2000, he was released under a U.S. campaign on his behalf. Lin says for decades, the CCP has been suppressing the group through methods such as brainwashing, torture, forced labor, and forced organ removal. And such practices have been applied step by step to other religious groups. He added that some international organizations remained silent and even abetted the CCP.
You would see the impact of the subversion of China's influence operations here in the United States. You would hear American human rights advocates talking about how the Falun Gong was a cult. And to say, wait a minute, where'd that come from?
Beijing's persecution of these groups has continued and intensified. According to human rights lawyers in China, Falun Gong practitioners are being arrested more and more frequently in recent times.
The Chinese government had a special forces group that literally went around the world to attack people. Well, we've known they've been doing that for years, and if you don't think they're doing it here, of course they're doing it here in the United States.
Robert Destro is a representative from the U.S. State Department. He says to this day, the Communist Party sees Falun Gong as an existential threat to power. According to an international human rights report this year, more than 100 cases of religious persecution were reported in China from July 2020 to June this year, double the number from last year's report.